Right? So then we started thinking about all these things. That okay, look, there's clearly organic demand on all these sides, but how do we ensure that we are very, very good at it? And the first question we asked ourselves was that look, the reason we've been good at angel investing is because we treat founders like peers. We are founders more and less investors. Like I don't ever see myself as an investor, as a finance guy. You know what I'm saying? I see myself as a founder. That's as simple as that. And I think that's probably what I'll do for the most of my life.
Today we had my good friend Aakrit VAISH on the pod. Aakrit is the co-founder and CEO of Haptik. Haptik is one of the world's largest conversational AI companies. Aakrit is also one of the most founder-friendly angels in India. He has invested in companies like Unacademy, MPL, Indiagold, to name a few. During our conversation, we covered a bunch of topics, starting from the founding story of Peercheque, why do they exist, how do they operate and invest, a change Aakrit would like to see in the VC ecosystem in India. What was the founding story of Team? What is Team looking to accomplish? We talked about the Mumbai tech ecosystem. We also got to know Aakrit outside of work. What's his day like? What's his relationship with health? And much more. Now I bring you Aakrit VAISH. Aakrit, my man, excited to have you on the pod. How are you?
Good, man. I am honored, elated, gratified that you've called me a second time. Amongst all my various so-called achievements, this will be right up there.
You're too kind.
On 1947 Rise, I got invited back again. Very excited to be here and always fun talking to you.
Likewise. So, Aakrit, we'll dive right into it. About 11 months back, after 75 investments, you and your partner in crime, Mithane, decided to formally launch Peercheque. What was the founding story of Peercheque and why does it exist?
So, Miten and I got into angel investing accidentally, much like what I have seen most founders experience, which is what happens is that about 3 or 4 years after you built a company, the ecosystem of other founders reaching out to you for advice, help, mentorship starts organically going up, right? That's the beautiful part about the tech ecosystem, that the community is very, very thick. So I think after starting Haptik, and then while Mithane was at Times Internet, we started getting a lot of just early stage founders reach out to us saying, look, we need some help here, we need some help there. Sometimes it was about fundraising, sometimes about how to take products to market, sometimes about anything else. So that's how we got into angel investing about 6 years back, where naturally the advice went into saying, hey, listen, I'm putting together a round. Would you be willing to invest? And both of us, I think it has happened to both of us in our own divergent paths. Like I was investing the first few deals separately, Mithane was doing it first few separately. And then, we came together because we've just been friends and colleagues in some shape or form for many years. So then we started angel investing together. So let's say if I was getting any deal, I would say, I'm investing in this 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. Are you interested? He'd say, yeah, whatever you're doing, I'm interested. And reverse also, right? Whatever he was doing, I said, yes, please, there's 10 lakhs from me. And 10, 15, 20 lakhs, as you know, is ended up being the typical angel investment check for each of us. We just kept doing that for many years without really knowing what we are getting ourselves into, one after the other, after the other. And before we know it, we had about 50, 60 investments. So right about that time, which is a year before Peercheque happened, right? Around the time when we were already 40, 50 investments in, two things started happening. One, the founders that we were investing in started coming to us saying, we want you to do more than just the standard 20, 30 lakhs that you guys are doing. Can you come in with, 50, 75 lakhs, 1 crore, 200K plus checks? Because we'd rather fill the cap table up with folks like you than others, and it will also be faster for us. And the second was a lot of our extended friends, family, ecosystem, networks were basically organically saying, listen, I want to do angel investing. Wherever you are investing, I'll invest with you. And Initially we resisted both the ideas. We said that we don't know if we want to become a, any form of a VC at the point. Let's be honest, right? The moment you're responsible for other capital and the moment you're putting larger amounts, it becomes a business that you have to run, right? It's no longer just investing. So at the time we weren't sure, but both these started becoming more and more and more, right? So every month on month, more founders were like, listen, do bigger. And more of the ecosystem was like, listen, we want to invest with you. And then it just reached a point where it was like, look, this is but obvious now. We should do something about it. And the big call for us to take was that, and I know you and I have spoken about this many times in the past. See, look, the moment you get into doing something, you want to be able to do a bloody good job at it. And you want to be, at least for me, you want to be the best at it. So that entire 1.5 year, by the time this we decided we wanted to do Peercheque, was did we want to be in the investing business? And if we did want to be that, how will we ensure that we are really, really good at it? And that's how Peercheque happened, and that's how Peercheque got formed. And yeah, happy to talk about why we think we'll be the best at it.
No, would love for you, Aakrit, to double click on that. And seems like both things happen very organically. Your angel investing and then Peercheque. But yeah, would love for you to double click on Peercheque. How do you guys operate? I know that you guys write checks between 100K to 500K. What sectors do you invest in? What stages you come in, and how do you help founders?
Yeah. So exactly right. So then we started thinking about all these things. That okay, look, there's clearly organic demand on all these sides, but how do we ensure that we are very, very good at it? And the first question we asked ourselves was that look, the reason we've been good at angel investing is because we treat founders like peers, which is where the name also came from, right? And that's because we are founders more and less investors. Like, I don't ever see myself as an investor, as a finance guy. You know what I'm saying? I see myself as a founder. That's as simple as that. And I think that's probably what I'll do for the most of my life. So we said, okay, look, step one, um, every founder or portfolio that we will work with, we will treat them as a peer when it comes to founders. So our conversations with them will be as if they were talking to another founder. And I know it's very hard. It's very hard to describe it, but I can bet you, and I can bet that any seasoned founder you will speak to, they will tell you instantly that a conversation with a VC or an investor versus a conversation with a founder are very, very different. Even if it's a casual conversation, and even if it is the right intent, it's just a different flavor. There's a different way in which those discussions and conversations happen. So we said that look, we'll continue maintaining that hat where every conversation will be like a founder reaching out to me for help and advice, and I'm trying to help them think through the problem statement. The second was we said that we're not necessarily going to do things for being in the classic VC business of upselling rounds. So, what I mean by that is that a lot of the VC ecosystem was becoming about I'll invest and now how do I get you the next round? I think for us, we said that look, how do we ensure we invest such that there's a chance it can become a large company, but we don't mind holding for whatever amount it takes. And even if that means that the outcome from here, the next outcome is going to be an IPO in 10 years, that's also okay. So that philosophy that look, what does the next round milestone, all that look like? We don't really have that. And then the third was trying to solve all the pain points we experience as founders. So first was quick decision making, right, on the investor side. Like you want investors to make quick decisions. Second was being being very focused towards what you're doing and being very honest. I half the times tell founders, boss, this might be very exciting, but I'm not your guy. Which very few people otherwise say, right? Like and in fact, I make them make introductions to people who I think might be relevant investors. Third is at the stage that we invest in, don't really discuss too many terms. They don't honestly mean much, right? Sure, valuation, all that is fine. And the fourth is just be honest and transparent to every piece per party that you're dealing with, whether it's founders or investors. So yeah, that's how we built it.
Yeah, I think I've observed as well, Aakrit, there's a gap, especially in the early stages of when companies are reaching out to investors. There aren't then that many operators that they can speak with. In fact, in India, or I would say operator investors. In India, I think 95% of investors come from the banking or consulting, and that this is it's really a natural evolution. It's bound to happen. Next 5-10 years, we'll see a lot of founders, operators becoming full-time investors. So it's great to see you guys in the ecosystem. And Akrit, understanding more about Peercheque, are there any sectors that you are focused on currently?
I was going to touch upon that. That was the other thing, right? To your point, operator investors or founder investors means you should do things that you understand and can help. So for us, naturally, those areas become SaaS and fintech. I come from SaaS, Mithane comes from fintech. So those become, we've set ourselves a goal that look, even if we don't invest, every great next SaaS or fintech founder should at least want to speak with us. That, like, at least that should happen, even if they decide not to take our capital for whatever reason, or we decide not to invest, but they should always feel like they should be able to speak with us. So those become two very sectors that we have natural affinity towards. Besides that, Shiva, I'll be honest, it's been a little bit here and there. We've done one or two things in climate tech. We've done one or two things in D2C, but it's pretty much been otherwise mostly these things. Um, you know, I think it also comes from maybe the earlier answer I gave you, which is just who we are. I think, like, I feel like it'll be very odd for me to invest in a company that I really don't completely get. It's, I think, that a little bit of that founder CEO mentality, no? Because when you're running your business as a CEO founder, you have so much intel, intuition, knowledge, and that sense of control about, I know how the business is going to go. I think it's very hard to not do that, no matter what hat you're wearing. Like, whether it's an investor hat, or it's sometimes funny when I'm talking to my father about his business, I tend to be the same, right? Which is like, really, like, understand it, go into the nitty gritty. When he's like, who cares? Why do you care, right? So I think the same thing applies on the investor side, where just because as operators you're so deep into your craft, or work, unless you really get it, it's hard to pull the trigger on things. Even tier one, tier A plus founders who we spoke to, building something absolutely amazing, but I was like, look, I have no clue how this works, and I'm not the right guy for this. So happy to, would love to stay friends and learn, but not for
Yeah.
me for investment.
Yeah. It's funny you picked up this point. So I was chatting with Suhail Samir, and he'll be launching a fund soon as well. And I asked him, like, so Suhail, what worked for you, and what's something that didn't work for you? And he said, I think what worked for me was relationships, and able to spot the talent. And what didn't work for me was investing in companies or spaces that I had no clue about. So similar to what you just said. And Akrit, is there any change that you would like to see in the venture ecosystem in India?
Oh my god, how much time do we have?
We have a lot. Keep going, my friend.
I get beaten up for saying wrong things. I'm not. I'm trying. Okay, I'll be honest, but I'll try to also take both sides of the table as much as I can. I have a fundamental. I had a belief about 2 years back, which is only getting stronger as I go deeper, both as an investor and as a founder, and in macro, which is that I fundamentally believe um, the foundation of how the venture ecosystem in India has been built, we got it wrong. And it's not any particular person's or companies or funds mistake. I think I would have probably done a worse job if I was here 10 years back or 12 years back doing it. We all are partake to it, including founders. But here's where it comes from. See, Shiva, if you think about VC as an asset class or VC as in just a business, right? And if you look at anywhere in the world, the core idea behind a VC and why VC became such an exciting proposition was it would invest in businesses with one of two or three characteristics. One, there'd be some really crazy IP, correct? Like you'll build something that nobody else can build purely from an IP standpoint, right? Some crazy, call it like semiconductor or call it whatever, right? But something you'll build as a crazy, very, very strong IP. Either that's one. Second was you'll build something that is infinitely scalable without adding more direct costs. Social media, internet, Google, so on, right? You don't need to add more people to the problem to really, really scale it. Like it reaches an inflection point where it just scales. Um, and the third characteristic would be you're playing in really large markets. So either IP or infinite scale or large markets. Step back and pause for like 5 seconds and tell me any company in India, including Haptik, that exhibits any one of these characteristics very strongly, right? Probably none. IP, it's never been an IP first market, right? Park that. Infinite scale, right? Every business is an internet enabled version of an offline business. So it can't be infinite scale. It'll always be linear scale beyond a certain point. You have to add more people, you have to add more ops. एंड मार्केट साइज तो अभी मतलब तो क्या बोलते हैं दूध का दूध पानी का पानी टाइप्स हो गया फॉर मी आल्सो समबडी बाय द वे ऑल ऑफ दीस थिंग्स आर थिंग्स आई से विद अ वेरी ग्रेव वेरी कमिंग फ्रॉम अ वेरी ग्रेव प्लेस फॉर माई सेल्फ राइट बिकॉज यू last podcast we spoke, I moved back from the US to build in and for India. So obviously these things are things that concern me and I want to fix them in some shape or form. But that's the challenge with the overall venture tech ecosystem. So I think also that's where the opportunity lies of some form of new venture model. I don't know what that will be like, and I have not really thought about it too much. But I do think there's an opportunity to reimagine how venture gets done in India.
Yeah. I'll add to this as well, Aakrit. I think Ashish Mohapatra, he worked at Matrix and then he founded Off Business, and he said, fundamentally, the venture ecosystem in India started way ahead of its time.
Very well.
Meaning, really, post 2014 is when India got the internet penetration and all those things. So it was mostly a catch up. A thing, but he said what he's most excited about is, again, like, and he said, like, we're gonna see that in the next 5-10 years, that we're gonna see a lot of founders, operators, again, like, back to my thing, who will be launching funds and backing companies and helping them build. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
actually think, in that sense. So, like I said, reimagining venture, I think in India is a very exciting problem. Amongst, I have not really thought deeper beyond a certain point, but I do think that the one characteristic I think a new age venture fund in India may have is the idea of a solo capitalist, right? The idea of a lean fund, because I don't think you can have funds over here that support those types of large teams, economics, or even like those political structures potentially, right? I think that leaner solo capitalist type funds, I think, will be a very relevant opportunity for India.
yeah, and I think I would say expertise focused or sector focused, because as of now the funds are very generalized, and that, again, like, we'll see in the next 4 5 years. So, Akrit, you and Mithane, you've been investing together for some time now, and How have you both evolved as investors? What have been the biggest learnings for you guys?
Yeah, good question. Lots to learn along the way. So first, I think the first learning is that in the venture business, it's a hits driven business. So in a hits driven business, um, the power law equation matters more than ever, which is that you have to, when you're investing in something, you have to by design expect that it will be a large outcome, or you have to bet on it assuming it will be a large outcome. If the outcomes don't theoretically seem large, then we don't invest, which is why maybe we've not invested in many D2C companies, because they can be great businesses, but very few of them can actually be $10 billion companies. Um, so I think that's been one big learning. Second is, I mean, look, everybody knows this and everybody keeps saying it, but you still have to go through your own learning curve that it's all about the founding team. It's all about just sort of, you know, characteristics of resilience and determination and ethics and, having a very strong, in India, I think you really, really need to have a very strong. India is not a product market, right? India is a business market. So I think you need to have a very strong commercial sense when it comes to things like finance, when it comes to things like just, P&L and all of those aspects. Um, so that's the other learning, where a lot of times when we bet on perhaps an idea or a market, but maybe not the founding team, we got it wrong. So founding team is like probably 70-80% of the battle, market size and large outcome being the other. And the latest learning is to not have FOMO at all. So we are now consciously um, making sure we do stuff that falls within our wheelhouse of framework, experience, expertise, types of founders we like to work with. And I feel proud of the fact, well, we'll see how it works out, but I feel proud of the fact that there are two or three investments that we did not do recently, which by all means and ways could be classified as a tier A plus investment, how the VC world classifies it. But, just didn't feel for us. So I think that's something we're getting a lot better at.
Got it. And Aakrit, you recently tweeted saying, as an entrepreneur in India, you're always in wartime. Cockroach mentality is the only way to build businesses. There's no innovation, no magical inflection point, only day to day grind that compounds over a long period of time. Where does that come from?
Just day-to-day experience, man. I think it was a tweet where I was really feeling it that day. Haptik is going to be 10 years in 3 weeks. So I just realized I've been running for a decade, but a lot of the things that I do, um, yes, the scale has changed, but are not very similar from what I was doing 7 or 8 years back. It's just, if there may 8 9 years back, maybe we were dealing in thousands. 4 5 years back, maybe in lakhs. 2 3 years back, maybe in crores. Now maybe in, one more zero added and so on in terms of scale, but stuff remains the same. And that's because of the nature of just the market. Going back to the earlier point, it's a linear market, right? Like in whichever shape and form you do. So it's a day to day grind that compounds. You're not building IP. It's not like a social network that's magically going to explode one day. This whole idea, I'm going to invest in CAC and suddenly tomorrow I'll turn profitable, is not happening. So it's day by day coming in, optimizing, moving every single lever one by one, and eventually you'll get there. Also a big learning from Reliance, to be honest, right? That I've had, which is it feels like suddenly things happen overnight at Geo or Reliance, but they prep for all of this for 8 9 10 years, and they day by day keep improving it, and then the moment that some it's ready, they explode it, and even after that they keep going at it day by day by day.
Yeah, yeah. And Akrit, I remember, we were sitting at one of your favorite places, Soho, last year, and it was not public, and you had, told me the idea about team, and would love for you to, tell us what was the founding story of team, And what's the magical outcome you as a group have for team?
For the last few years, we had broadly been having a problem as Bombay founders, where we were finding it harder and harder to access A1 tech talent. Like we could, but the pool was getting smaller and smaller. And broadly, the perception had become very clearly that the startup capital of the country is Bangalore. There's a lot of action in Gurgaon. There's a lot of action in Chennai. But Bombay is no longer on the map. That perception was compounded by VCs saying it, founders saying it, talent and engineers saying it. I had a lot of people, engineers who I lost, not because of Haptik necessarily, but they just said that, look, if I have to build a career in tech, I have to be in Bangalore. This was consistently happening. A lot of our friends moved, founder friends moved. Kunal of Cred, Jiten of Jupiter, Miten now at Cred, and there are many, Zishan of Topper. Um, Many examples, right? There's many examples of seasoned, homegrown, as Bombay people, as founders get decided to move for the same reason. So, we were seeing all of this happen, and I'll give credit over here, all credit over here to Harsh of Dream 11 for one day calling me up and being like, "Listen, man, we got to do something about it." And he's like, "I've had a conversation with the then CM, and I think we should do something about it," because he was very vehement that I never want to get out of Bombay as Dream 11. Um, and you know, so I said, okay, look, let's think about it. And obviously, we all got busy. He called me, and then we all got busy with lives. And then what we did was we basically Harsh and I started putting together all the companies that existed in Mumbai. So he shared a name, I shared a name, he shared a name, I shared a name. And we initially thought, if we are able to put together a list of 15, 20, that will be great. Shiva, over a few months, because we was, obviously we got forgot about over a few months, he kept like doing this on WhatsApp, and we found almost 50, not 15, 50 companies that were of meaningful value, 23 of them being unicorns, and the remaining 25 being above $200 million in value, that came together. And both of us were like, what? Like, so much, all these companies are in Bombay. And then we said that, look, let's all meet. So we organized sort of a meet and a get together at Dream 11 office. And we basically put this problem in front of everybody, saying that, look, this is happening. Talent is moving. Founders are moving. We got to do it, step in and do something about it. One thing led to the other. And, we said that, look, to be able to solve this really, really well, we need a concerted effort to go behind it. And that can only happen if you do it in an organized way. If ऐसे हम लोग मिलेंगे once in a while, हम दोनों WhatsApp पे बातें करेंगे, होगा नहीं, right? You got to do it properly. And, just happened to be the case that I ended up taking the lead on some of this and said that, look, let's put together this organization where everybody will come in, we'll all contribute certain funds, and we'll start going at it to solve this problem. How are we going to solve it? Three broad themes. First, these 50 companies, let's start yelling about them, right? Let all our engineers also find out that there are so many better and other options in Bombay. This idea that Bombay doesn't have tech, let's eliminate it. Zepto being in Bombay, that seems such a quintessential Bangalore company, but he's built it in Bombay end to end, and he has a great reason why he's built it here. And many other examples that even when the new age companies came about, right? So first step, let's just talk about what exists. We've had an insane amount of positive reaction to that. The number of other founders who have come forward and said, wow, I did not know all this tech existed. Me as an early stage founder, even I was thinking of moving to Bangalore. I'm so happy to see that this exists over here, right? So step one is that, or was that. Step two, which is now very much in motion, is let's try to build a local community. The other day I was talking to some other VC in Bangalore who was saying, listen, I'm tired of startup events in Bangalore. I want to get to that stage in Bombay, where there is something or the other going on very frequently. We had a big hackathon in June. We took Tech Sparks here in March, in February. And now we are in the phase where we're going to start seeing just regularly a lot of community-based activities here. And then the third is eventually going to be how do you work with the government closely as well to solve some of the more city related challenges. Bangalore or Hyderabad, I think also did really well because the government was very involved in promoting it as an IT sector. We need to do that a lot more, right? I think the government here, the other interesting part is that China, that somebody said it very well that uh, Bangalore and Hyderabad or Chennai to some degree, tech or IT ends up being the only thing that they are very good known for, right? In Bombay, we have financial capital, we have Hollywood, sorry, Bollywood as we have Bollywood and entertainment, we have media. So because there are so many other businesses and so many other sectors also, tech just becomes another one. So I think the other thing is to work with the government to change that. First year has been amazing. I mean, almost coming up to a year. Super exciting, the kind of feedback we've had. We are proper product market fit now from a startup standpoint.
No, I mean, as an outsider, Aakrit, I've been enjoying it, man. I've been having a lot of fun seeing this actually coming to life, and all of you guys are having fun, and you've built an amazing community altogether. And I would say, Mumbai is a combination of New York and LA, and Akrit, with this, we'll switch gears. The guy in the back has been bugging me, especially with the focus. But okay, I'll let him in. So he's asking you, what's your typical day like?
Uh, what's his name?
Alfonso.
Alfonso. All right, Alfonso. What's my typical day like? Yeah, there's a bit. Once you have kids, you are forced to get into a routine. I have two kids, 4 and 2, and then also I was telling you before we started, I have way too many jobs I've taken up, so life is quite busy. My typical day is I usually am up between 7 and 8, and I start my day with my workout that goes for about an hour. Post workout, come back home, just settle in, get ready, breakfast, maybe see the kids for a little bit. Start my day at about 10. 10 to 7, I would say, is just non-stop action. No time for anything. Lunch is working, everything. No time for social media, unless of course it's work related. No time for friends, family. And 10 to 7 is just heads down, non-stop action without a blink. 7 to 8 is kids. That's their bedtime, so spend time with them, put them to bed. 8 to then 10 is typically work again, and this time it's more it's more my work, because day to day the day is otherwise filled with just non-stop action. So this time is more like, okay, what do I want to do, what's going on, what does this look like, keep looking at my P&L again and again to see where I can find things to improve. That goes on till about 10. 10 to 11, and dinner happens over work. And then 10 to 11 is just some downtime and TV or read, which I'm trying to get a lot more done. Go to bed between 11 and midnight, and the rinse and repeat. This rinse and repeat continues for 6 days. Saturday is pretty much very similar, and except that Saturday night. So the difference is that once I finish my Saturday at about 7, 8 p.m. onwards, completely let my hair down. So Saturday night is typically always out, doing something, friends, family, dinner, drinks, sometimes more than a few drinks. Uh, Sunday, try to wake up on time, and Sunday is fully dedicated to kids and only kids. Even if we're doing something with friends, it's all usually with kids. And Sunday night, once they've gone to bed, I like to catch a good movie. And these days, of course, have a lot of backlog that I have to catch up on all the coming Sundays. So that's
Yeah,
the typical week.
action packed. And Akrit, what's your relationship with health, man?
Oh man, can write a book on it because I think you know a little bit of it. Till the age of 35, I was an extremely unfit person. And at the age of 35, I peaked as far as my unfitness was concerned. Like I was unfit for all my life till the age 35. Like all my life. I was never fit. And by never fit being mean, I never worked out. I never went to gym. I used to run once in a while, but I didn't have a daily health regime. I never went to the gym in college, never really had a health regime at all till the age of 35. At the age of 35, like I said, I peaked in terms of how unfit I was. My body at the time, I think, was in all parameters closer to a 45-year-old. And that's when I realized that, for the lack of better words, I'm screwed unless I change something today. From then till the next 18 months, I'm going to turn 37 in 10 days. So from there till 18 months on, I lost 23 kilos. And along the way, I also just became fitter in what I did. And then from there till now, the last 6 months, um, I would say that I'm a fit person. And I think I've come back to being, my body's come back to being a 37-year-old. It's not necessarily still 30 or 35, where maybe I'd like to go reverse, but that's where I've come down to. So, like I said, I can write a book on it because it's a very recent experience I've gone through, ranging from diet to nutrition to just fitness and hair, working out and playing and just sleep, everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what have been the biggest benefits? Like, is it giving you like you're more energetic, clarity of thought you're seeing, feeling lighter?
I'll be very, I'll give you a very different answer than what anybody would give you. The feeling that I may have more time in life. I think my peak of unfitness, this fear started kicking in that I may not be fit enough to operate at this level for more than 15 more years. Now I feel I can do this for 30 years. That mental comfort, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a different piece, right? You feel like the fact that you know that you have more time in life, everything becomes a little bit easier to solve. Day to day, you're right, all those things, right? More energy, more clarity, you feel more confident, you feel great, you feel all those things. But for me, the biggest thing was that hopefully I'll be around for a lot longer to operate at this level.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been digging it, Aakrit, you and of course Nitin, and these guys have done something interesting. Depender of Zomato, they have a CFO, Chief Fitness Officer, in their team. That's been cool. And Aakrit, if you could invite three people, dead or alive, to a dinner table, who would they be and why?
If we could together, or I would alone,
You would invite.
and I would hang out with them alone.
Alfonso will be there. He'll be the chef.
Alfonso's allowed. Alfonso's welcome. Okay. Three people, dead or alive. Look, I am not one for too many role models. I'm not that type of a person. I've not really been, how do I put it? I've not been infatuated by personalities or people. I learn from them, but for me, that said, the three people I'd like to bring to the table to learn from or invite, one slightly cheesy, but one would be my grandfather. He passed away when I was 7. But from what I remember, a little bit faint memories, and from what I've always been told, him and I had a very, very strong relationship. And he was also he was a true entrepreneur of his times. So I feel like we would have really had a lot to share. So one would be him. Second, let's see, let's make this dinner entertaining, right? If he, given the stories I've heard about him, who else would be fun to bring to the table? I think not specifically this one individual, but one of the folks, maybe the CTO, I forget her name, or one of the senior research folks at a company like OpenAI. Not, I mean, Sam is great, but we've heard, and there's enough to hear from them. I think one of the folks who are actually working on just ground like in the weeds of some of this stuff, um, because obviously uh, I don't think any one of us have realized the impact that truly AI is going to have. I think ChatGPT is just cool and it's fun, but like really the greater impact lies in times to come. So I think somebody from that team to talk AI, and then the third would be um, what's the guy's name? The king of Saudi Arabia. In awe and fear of what they are doing, both in terms of what they want to become and where they want to go. So, and because it's such a closed world where you don't know much, I would love to get dinner with him and just hear of what he wants to do in terms of, you know, where they want to take the world, not in terms of either, not in terms of either envy or glut or excitement, or I'm not saying good or bad. I'm curious that where do they want to take what they're doing.
Yeah, I just want to understand how he thinks, what's going on in his mind. And yeah, they're investing heavily in sports, Aakrit. You probably have heard of it. Crazy.
Well, no, I mean, sports is something that you see much more upfront, right? But
Yeah.
I think I am convinced that at least a fifth of all venture money
Yeah.
that's gone in
Yeah.
has been originated from there, right? Because the SoftBank fund was theirs. They obviously invested in tons and tons of other funds. So at least a fifth of venture money that went into all the scale has to have come originated from there. So everywhere, right? And what they're planning to make the country, city, and invest globally, I think it's you. Everybody should really be curious to know more.
Yeah. Yeah. Got last one, Aakrit. What's the kindest thing someone has done for you?
You know, I'm very lucky. People have been very kind to me along the way, especially my family more than anybody else. Um, Difficult question, man. I can't think of it right now. I think my both my mom and my wife, particularly, both actually, my mom and my wife have been extremely kind to me through different phases of life. Um, can't point to any one thing.
No worries. Me and Alfonso will do the second kindest thing for you. Post this, Akrit, I'll ask you for your home address. As a gesture, we'll gift you two books. I think one you might have. I want to gift you one, but I have a feeling that you've read it. So for that reason, we'll probably gift you two. But Akrit, thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy. Means a lot. Thanks, Alfonso.
Had a great time. Thanks a lot.
Always, buddy.